Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Holly Hagany, and I'm with the marketing team at NetWitness. Today's session is a live demo of the NetWitness Platform XDR 12.2. If you have questions, please submit them in the Q&A panel, and we'll get to as many of them as we have time for. Also, today's session is being recorded and will be available on demand. At the end of the session, we have a brief survey. If you could fill that out, let us know how we did, and if you have suggestions for future topics, we would appreciate it. And now I'll turn things over to your host, Omar.
Hello, everyone. So how are you guys? So my name is Omar Hafiz. I'm an instructor and instructor designer in the educational services of NetWitness. And today's session is about the what's new in NetWitness 12.2. So I'll be now moving to the next slide so I can explain the session agenda for you guys. So this session actually here includes 5 topics. We have the first topic, which is the CCM enhancements, which includes the core services and ESA enhancements. Then we have the second topic, which is about the respond notification improvement. And topic 3 here discusses log collection improvement, which includes the new support for Logstash. And we have topic 4, which is parsing improvements regarding HTTP2. And finally, topic 5 here is the UI improvements that are relevant to the Respond module and endpoint auto runs. So before we start our session, can you please ensure that your mics are muted? And if you have any questions during the session, please drop them at the chat box so that I can answer them at the end of the session. And don't forget to check our course catalog after this presentation. A PDF version will be sent to all of you, and you can click the visit course catalog as you can see here on the screen. So now I'll be here setting your expectations for this session. So we will cover the introduced topics only, which means covering some highlights about CCM and the other new features. However, the detailed description of CCM and the features prior to 12.1.1 or 12.2 versions is not included in this session. So let's here start with the first topic. So we have here the CCM enhancements. So before going into the exact details that I'm going to explain, I just wanted to you guys to know that after each topic, we will have like a live demo of the points that I explained so that it can be easily shown on the system and you can guys grasp the idea fast. So the first one we have is the CCM Management Banner. So NetWitness version 12.0 here introduces the centralized content management, which is the CCM feature. And for those who are not familiar with this feature, it's like a policy-based centralized content management, some sort of a unified approach to find, deploy, and manage content through the entire lifecycle based on policies that can be assigned to groups of devices. And it's something like a single location to view and modify and also manage the content deployed across all services in the environment. And here version 12.1.1 includes some enhancements to the core services. The first one here is the CCM Management Banner. So you can guys view this, as you can see on the screen, this banner that is highlighted in the red box. So this banner appears, which here it's like some sort of telling you that some features are managed by the CCM feature. You can view this page from config and then going to the live content. Of course, this is going to be explained in much details when we preview the live demo. And the second point we have here is the product update pop-up. So upon selecting the content tab in your environment for the first time, a sort of like a pop-up message here will appear to notify you about the CCM feature. So you just click on the watch video and more information about the CCM is viewed. And also there is another feature in that part is that, for example, when you open the environment for your first time, you should receive a pop-up message. But if you already have opened your environment, this pop-up message will not appear. So you need to click here on the product update button here so you can view this video and get additional info regarding the CCM. The third part we have here is the fail-safe publish of content policies. So before publishing any policy in 12.2, this dialog box appears here warning you that all content on this selected service will be deleted. Therefore, we need to ensure that any necessary content is migrated before this step. Then we have the customizing live application rules. So this is actually something from the new updates that we have here. So for example, I want to edit a certain application rule. The edit button option actually is not available. So what happens is that you select the application rule, for example, and you just click on clone. And when you click on clone, this means that I'm creating a duplicate for this. And when the duplicate of this required rule is created, you can then apply the necessary changes and save it as a new rule. And as you can see here, we have the auto file path part of RPM. This is the first rule that we have, and then we're trying to clone it. As you can see, like there's some sort of -1 or a -1. It's kind of like giving you the -1 here stands for this is the clone, or this is the duplicate that you have just created, or you can just create the name of the new rule depending on your choice. But the -1 here, or the -1, showing you that this is the duplicate that I want to do the edits on. And after that, you just click on the clone button and it should be created for you in your environment. And also we have here the adding all content of a specific category at once. So this happens while you're trying to edit a certain content policy. You have a list of application rules, as you can see here on the screen. And for some reason, I want all these application rules in this policy. So instead of like going one by one, manually trying to insert each rule, you just click on the plus all button and all the application rules needed are going to be added to your content policy. Then we have the redirection from policies to group wizard. So previously in versions prior to 12.2, the process of creating and assigning a policy is more streamlined. So you no longer now need to save the policy and switch to the groups tab. You can just create the group while you're creating your policy. So it's some sort of saving time. Instead of going back and forth, you have to go to policies, create a new policy, and then you have to go to the groups tab and create a new group, and then you return back to the policy and add this group to the policy. This was the old way. Now you don't need to do that. Just in the moment when you're clicking on new policy, you reach the last step, you just click on the create group button that you have here, and you will create the new group while you're creating your new policy instead of going back and forth between the tabs. And also we have the optional CCM. So here in 12.2 version, the usage of CCM now is optional. So at the bottom of the left of the content tab, as you can see here, you can just click here, and this dialog message will appear to you saying that if you click on yes, then you're allowing the usage of CCM, and if you click on no, this means that I don't want to use the CCM feature. And also we have the unified deployments. So the CCM feature in NetWitness version 12.1.1 is updated with additional enhancements related to the event stream analysis, providing notable improvements as per the points I'll mention right now. So the unified deployment feature enables you here to create, edit, remove, deploy, and stop deployment for all the policies within a single page. So additionally, it just simplifies accessing all the deployment of all policies within a single page. And here we have the steps to create a deployment. So you must first create an ESA policy that meets the following criteria. So the first point is that the policy should contain at least one ESA rule. The second point here is that the policies group must include an ESA correlation server. And of course, for each deployment, an ESA data source must be configured. All the policies that meet the criteria are displayed in the policy drop-down menu, as you can see here on the screen. Then we have the redirecting to edit policy. So while editing deployments, if you want to add or remove ESA rules, you can click the button, click here in the dialog box, view ESA rules. And on click, the existing deployment is saved and you are redirected to edit content policy page. Then we have the managing data sources from the deployments creation page. So starting from version 12.2, you can manage ESA data sources from the ESA deployment page. You can add an ESA data source while editing or creating a deployment just by clicking the Add New Data Source button within the deployment page. You can also add the required data source from the Add New Data Source dialog box. So for example, as you can see here, these data sources are not available. I want to add them instead of like the previous dialog box. The packet hybrid, for example, the log endpoint lookup, they weren't visible. So you just click on add and they'll be available to you.